Hey everyone, I am TH Pine and welcome to Mu Complex. What is Mu Complex, you ask? I like to call it a command line interface-based puzzle game. When this video goes live, it should be available already, and this is what it looks like. Before we start though, a spoiler warning. This is a story-driven puzzle game, so everything I'm gonna show you will be a spoiler. I cannot avoid that. What I'm gonna do is just show you the first few levels so you don't get spoiled for the rest of the game. So please keep that in mind before continue watching. Let's get right into it, shall we?
Mu Complex is a governmental company. You have to connect on your Mu account. Please log in to proceed.
So, as I said, command line interface. There we go. There's our terminal. We can type in commands like hello. Well, he doesn't know hello, but he knows the help command, so we can check out the command list. Apparently there are 4 commands. We're supposed to log in, so I guess we use the login command. It asks for a password. What we're gonna do? Well, we don't know the password, so we just type in anything. But luckily there's a password command, so we're gonna use that to check out the password. And here comes the first annoyance I have with this game. We cannot copy paste. Like, I cannot mark this, I cannot copy it, I have to type it, so we have to go log in. By the way, there is auto-completion, so I can press L and then tab to auto-complete, so that works, that's great. But now I have to type this password and make sure I don't make a mistake. There we go.
Complex. Bruce Dayton. You have been away for 21,933 days. We are happy to see you again. At Mu Complex, you'll be asked to look for data inside files that will be given to you. To validate your aptitude test, you'll have to find a password and log in with it.
So there we go. That was the first puzzle. Here's the second puzzle. So you see how this goes. We need a password again to log in. So let's see. There are new commands like ls, which will list all the files. If you're used to work on a Linux system or Unix system, then you know ls as a command. And yeah, it shows all the files that there are. There are 4 files. Let's check out the manual doc with the cat command, for example. We can autocomplete the files as well. It seems like it's encrypted. Too bad, but we can check out the password tags. So that makes sense. That's an email, and it tells us the password we have to use, which is Olomoto. So let's go log in, solve this puzzle as well. Olomoto, and jump to the next one.
We are surprised that you've succeeded this test, knowing your clinical condition. At Mu Complex, there are several credential levels. It is very important that you know how to use them. To validate your aptitude test, you'll need to run a command as administrator.
So, as I said, there's autocomplete. There's also a command history. There's no command. You cannot search history, but you can go up and down with the arrow keys. It's a little weird though, because, for example, passwords are in the history and stuff like that. And it doesn't have like, yeah, the passwords usually are not in the command history because it's not a command. It's like a parameter you put into a command. So that's a little unusual, but it's nothing too bad. Like it's okay. It's not too bad. So the console works fine, I would say. So what do we have to do? I did not listen. Yeah, we have to learn to run a command as an administrator. So here we go. Welcome to the Linux tutorial. What to do when you can't do a command you want to do. So let's say we want to open the password file because that's what we're doing. You must be an administrator. Well, let's check the help menu. We have a new command. It's called sudo. Sudo make me a sandwich, please. And we're gonna do sudo cat password. And there we go. There we got the password. We can log in again. And we get to the next level. So that's how this works.
This was a triumph. Your aptitude test has
I wonder if that's a Portal reference. It might be.
Statistics. Welcome to Sector High, Level 01. You have been connected to your personal computer, Bruce Dayton.
This was a triumph.
Your personal files has been locked.
Making a note here.
933 days since your last login.
Huge success.
Your birthday to confirm
Sorry.
your identity. Bruce Dayton. Please use the command unlock when you are ready to confirm your identity.
Okay, so we logged in. Boy, it seems like we've been away for quite some time, so the computer wants us to validate by putting in our birth date. So we're Bruce Dayton apparently. Well, we're logged in as Bruce Dayton at least. That might change later in the game, but we have to figure out our birthday. So let's take a look what we have here. We have a bunch of mails which we can read. For example, we can check out our child mail by Ryan Child. But the important files are later down. Further down, so data part, for example, that would be interesting, right? What is that? We cannot access that. Same goes for the level 1 JPEG because we have not validated ourselves yet. However, we can, for some reason, access the emails, as I said, and the birthday JPEG, which shows us a nice cake, which is not a lie, but it shows you 30. And so apparently it's someone's 30th birthday. I wonder whose birthday it is. Hopefully ours, and we can figure out which date it is when this picture was shot. And for that, we're gonna check out a events mail, and we're gonna see, oh, it's about Bruce's birthday. We're logged in as Bruce Dayton, so that seems to be us. And it's sent at the 18th of March, 64. So 3rd birthday. Let's do some basic math. Do unlock 03. You see how this game works, right? So you get the idea.
Your account has
There
been
we go.
unlocked successfully. Mean complex is quite vast, and you will have to use a map to position yourself in this large complex. We remind you that your computer is located on level 01 in sector 01. There is a virtual lock on a computer level 02 in sector 01. Please connect on a computer in level 02 to fix it.
So we got access to our files now, and we can check out level 1 and see how the network is built up, like what it includes. And it seems to have 3 computers on this level, and on level 2 there's another computer, but we don't know the name yet. However, we have a command SSH, which allows us to connect to another computer, and we have a data part. We can access the data part file now, but it seems to be like only half a file, so that doesn't really help us yet. So what we're going to do is we have to figure out. We have to connect to the other computers. For example, we can go SSH. So that was a German pronunciation. We cannot autocomplete the computers, unfortunately, but it kind of makes sense because you have to figure out the names first. Like this. Oh, he needs a password. So we don't know the password, so too bad. But we can go to Adams Evans. There we go. And there are files here, and that will allow us to figure out the password for Tim Gerton's computer, and that's how the game works. So one more technical annoyance: I cannot resize or move the console. I can move this around. However, I can only open and close this when I wait. Actually, can I? Can I move this around without closing it? I'm not 100% sure. Oh yeah, I can. I just have to make sure not clicking on the close button. So I can move this around. I cannot move the terminal around. I cannot make the terminal bigger either. So there's a lot of wasted space down here, especially because you will never open more than one picture at the same time. If you try, it will just close the other one. So this space is really wasted, and it would be nice to increase the console. And you can scroll back up, but you cannot do so with the mouse wheel, which is really silly as well. I'm not sure why that is. That would be a useful addition. Anyway, I'm not going to continue solving the puzzles now, so instead I'm going to talk about the game and about my experience with the future puzzles and stuff, because I don't want to spoil the puzzles for you, as I said earlier. So overall, I like the idea of this game quite a bit. Obviously, I'm a software developer for a living, so I'm used to work on a computer terminal. Like, I worked with Linux for years, so I know how to operate a computer from a command line interface and stuff like that. I know how to connect to different computers in a network and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like, I have an edge here about the I have an edge here compared to the usual user, I guess. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. So what I wanted to say? So what I wanted to say is that I generally like the game quite a bit, or the idea of the game, but I have a problem with the puzzle design. So there are basically 2 kinds of puzzles in this game. There are IT puzzles and non-IT puzzles. So what I mean with IT puzzles is puzzles that you can solve by looking through files, connecting to different computers, figuring out passwords and usernames, and stuff like that. So that are the IT puzzles. Or, for example, there's later a puzzle where you have to connect to a device in the network which operates the network, and you have to power computers and turn off security and stuff like that. And then there are the non-IT puzzles where you have to solve codes. For example, there's an ASCII code you have to solve, or a Morse code you have to solve, stuff like that, and a Caesar code as well, I think. So you have to solve some codes or do some general puzzle stuff, like what you would expect in a generic puzzle game, I guess. I could say. So let's start talking about the non-IT puzzles first. So first, I'm not a big fan of them, because that's not what I expect from the game. But it's okay to have them in here and there at some point, as like not to only have IT puzzles. I guess that makes sense. However, they're all super trivial. Like they usually consist of 2 steps. The first step is to figure out what do I have to do, and the second step is do it. For example, we find an ASCII code, and you have to figure out, okay, I have to get an ASCII table and solve the code, and then you have to solve the code. So that's the 2 steps. However, the first step is in most cases super trivial. For example, in the example with the ASCII code, it just says ASCII double dot colon, and then the code. So if it's like, it's obviously what you have to do, and Morse code is really easy to recognize as well. So the first part is really, really easy, and the second part is it's something to do, but it takes a while, obviously, because you have to look up tables and stuff like that, but it's not like an interesting task in my opinion, so it very much feels like busy work. So what about the IT puzzles? So I like the idea of the IT puzzles. For example, I would consider the birthday puzzle an IT puzzle. You have to dig through different files, and as I mentioned, the puzzle with the device which controls the network, that's actually a pretty good IT puzzle. However, they have the same problem, they're super easy. So let's say for the device puzzle, the device puzzle and the one with the birthday are probably the best designed puzzles in the game, but they're both super easy, and that is the same for all the puzzles in this game, which is my biggest concern. So the birthday puzzle is actually a good puzzle. Why do I think it is? Because you have to do multiple things, which are not super obvious, well, they're easy, but they're not obvious. So you have to use your brain to do it. You have to read an email and deduce the information that it's written on your birthday from the text. Then you have to look at a picture and deduce the information that is the 30th birthday, and then you have to combine those two information, do some basic math, and solve the puzzle. So I think that's, in general, a pretty good puzzle design. Obviously, in this case, all those steps are super easy, and that would be okay for an early puzzle. But the problem is, the later puzzles have the same problem. For example, as I said, the device puzzle, you have to find a manual, and you have to read through the manual to get the commands, and then you can log into that device and use the commands to unlock other parts of the network. However, all of that is just, after you read the manual, is just busy work, because it's super easy to operate that thing and doesn't have any struggles. It doesn't stop you. It's like really easy to use. You just say power on and the computer is on and that's it. Like it just feels again like busy work, and that's the main issue of the whole game. All the puzzles are busy work basically, and usually the thinking part of the puzzles is like really, really easy and really, really short, and doesn't take much effort. So keep in mind, I'm a software developer, as I mentioned, for living. So I'm obviously might have an edge here, and maybe you could make the point that the game is not targeted at people like me, and that operating, like moving around on an unknown operating system and operating a computer from a terminal and stuff like that is a challenge to people who are not used to that. And actually, that's the part I like the most about the game, because it's cool. Like it's similar to our usual operating system, but it's not exactly that. So figuring out what to do and how it works is like an interesting task to me. But as I said, it could be more complicated to people who are used to that kind of stuff. It was really easy to me. It might not be super easy for everyone. So you could make the point that the game is not really like that. I'm not really the target audience, because like I'm too used to that stuff. I know how that works. Like that's why it's so easy for me. However, I would make the counter argument that if you make a puzzle game that is working like that, the core principle is that you operate it from a command line interface, then people like me will be your target audience, or you don't have one. So that's I'm repeating myself at this point, but let's say it one last time. If people like me are your target audience, which they are obviously, because we're talking about a game which is completely controlled over command line interface, then those puzzles are too easy. They're just too easy. Like there is no challenge. It's not interesting. They're like most of the puzzles are not even interesting, especially non-IT puzzles are not interesting. They just figure out what code it is, use table to solve code, done. The IT puzzles are a little bit more interesting because you have to dig around through files and sometimes deduce information from text, like with the birthday. But those two examples I showed, the birthday thing and the device puzzle, are the only two ones I actually find interesting. The rest, like the others, where usually go to that. Look through that file, find a different computer, log to that computer, look through the files, find a password, maybe do a non-IT puzzle to unlock the file with the password, go back to the other computer or to a third computer and log into the one you have to go, or unlock something. That's what most of the IT puzzles are. So most of them are actually pretty straightforward. So yeah, before I start repeating myself again, though, let's actually talk about one last technical issue I have. You see the option menu on the screen right now. The option menu is this. This is the option menu. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no resolution options. There's no window or full screen. It's always in window mode. So there's no full screen mode. There's no resolution options. There's no sound sliders. There's just sound on or off. That's it. And that's not enough, I fear, for a PC game. So, especially when your game is about operating a computer, then please make sure that, like, I feel like I'm on a computer and a PC gamer accepts a decent option menu. And I expect to be able to drag this window around and resize it and scroll with the mouse wheel and copy paste stuff. I don't know. That's like. It's just like the idea of the game. Like, let's sum it up like this: the idea of the game is cool, the feeling is cool, the story seems to be kind of intriguing as well. Oh yeah, there's a hint system. If you take too long, it will give you allows you to use a hint. I did not mention that yet. So that's a good idea, I think. That's actually a cool idea to have this in, because should not talk over her. So my computer, apparently Tim's computer. Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, let's talk about the hint system and then sum it up again. So I think the hint system is a good idea because, as I mentioned in the human resource machine video, having a linear puzzle game is risky because people might get stuck, and that's annoying. So having the hint system after some time when someone gets apparently gets stuck is a cool idea of doing so. So I think that's a good idea. However, I did not get stuck so far because it was super easy. So let's sum it up. As I said, I really like the idea. I like the feeling the game gives you with the command line interface. You're obviously logging into something, some weird company. There's some strange stuff going on. The story is kind of intriguing. Stuff like that. That's really cool. However, the game fails on a technical level. Like, no option menu. You cannot do stuff here what I would expect the thing to do. And it fails on puzzle design, in my opinion. It's still kind of a fun experience. Like, if you like this kind of stuff, it's probably still worth checking it out. But it's not what I want it to be. Let's put it that way. That's probably the best way to put it. It's not what I expected this game or hoped this game to be. It's still not bad. It's not a terrible game. Definitely not. If you're into that stuff, feel free to check it out. It's called Mu Complex. It's available. I will put the links where you can get it in the description below. And, well, yeah, thanks all for watching. My name is TH Pine. Have fun, and see you next time.